Guys, what's going on? It's Ash here coming at you today in Clash Royale. Today is a big day that will live on in the annals of Clash Royale history. Why? Because the all-time trophy record previously held for almost 14 months by the latter GOAT himself, Guanek, which we're going to do something really fun in today's video. We're going to go a quick 1 minute of throwback content, kind of highlighting Guanek when he originally set this record. I'll include a link to the video if you guys want to see what deck he used. It was actually crazy to look at now, but ironically, the guy who beat him, the guy who set the new trophy record, is joined with me today, and the deck that he used to get there is strangely similar to the deck that Guanek actually used, almost a year and a quarter ago. So here are the two decks. He actually used two, not this one, not the Splash Yard with the freeze, but he also used this deck. He alternated between the two decks. And this is a Night Witch Giant deck, which was the original deck used by Guanek, which I thought was very apropos of this achievement. So guys, what I want to do, I have a bunch of great replays to share with you guys against Jack, who I had on yesterday, and also against Pompeo, and just other great players. But before we do that, I want to kind of do something fun and do a quick throwback to Guanek's world-setting record. So if you guys don't want to see this, just fast forward about 1 minute. It's just a quick kind of throwback to the first time that he broke that, or actually achieved that record the first time here on the channel. Guanek, at least if you look at the season tallies, the season results from the last year plus of Clash Royale history, Guanek is now the only player to finish #1 in the world at the end of the season 3 times ever. This is crazy. I want to say Pompeo has done it twice. So let's go ahead and take a look at the deck that he did it with this time. So the first 2 times he did it was with Hog Freeze. You guys probably think of Guanek's name and you think of synonymous with Hog Freeze because he loved Hog Freeze, but he shifted away from the Hog meta, and you can see today we're going to have a lot of fun going over the replays that got him at the end of the season last night to #1 in the world. Alright guys, well I hope you enjoyed that kind of throwback there. If you want to see the original video and just see that old school gameplay and maybe get a little nostalgic about it, I'll include a link for you guys in the description below. Now guys, before we show these replays really quickly, let's take another quick look at the two decks. This deck is so simple to use. I think that regardless of your trophy range, you guys will have a lot of success with this deck. If you don't have Night Witch, you can actually go ahead and sub in the regular Witch in this deck for a reason that we're going to discuss in just a moment. And if you don't have the log, you can sub in arrows in this deck. And what is this deck all about? Basically baiting out your opponent's big spell, not their small spell, but their big one, and comboing in double elixir time the giant with the miner to tank when the giant dies. So why are we baiting? Well, basically we have ideally they're going to use their spell on the minions before that we show that we have the minion horde, and then we're going to be able to punish with the horde and the Night Witch. Most cases they'll use their big spell even against the Night Witch, and then you're free to punish with minions and then minion horde. So you can see like the template of this deck is very, very basic. And then the big heavy Splash Yard deck with a lot of legendary cards in it. It's really difficult to sub in for all these legendaries in this deck. It's one of those kind of decks that if you guys have it, you have it. If you don't, that is kind of tough to play. But essentially what you're going to try to do with this deck is defend first. Every card is relatively heavy, and then you try to punish once they overcommit. You punish with the graveyard and sometimes also the freeze spell. So guys, let's go ahead and hop into the replays here. Let's start out against Jack. Why not, guys? And it's going to be the giant double minion deck. And let's see how Ark Thompson plays this match. I'd also want to give a huge shout out to Ryan for hooking me up, connecting me with Ark Thompson here to share these replays with you guys. So thank you, Ryan. Really appreciate it. So here we go, guys. It's going to be a hog coming in for Jack. You guys know how aggressively Jack plays this deck. If you saw my video yesterday, if you haven't, even if you're not a 2.6 hog player, definitely check out that video. It's one of my happiest that I've ever produced and put out there in terms of just breaking down difficult matchups and how to actually win them and providing kind of a template and a formula for winning those matchups. Speaking of that, that's what we want to do in today's video too, only using the deck that we're talking about being played here by Ark at the top. So early on, you can see Jack trying to switch lanes. We show that we do have the minion horde and the minions in this deck, and at this point, Jack's going to be thinking, crap, how am I going to break through, right? And if you're Arc Thompson, what you're thinking here is, okay, I can bide my time trying to get most of my damage here in double elixir time, and it's pretty easy to break through even against a fast cycle deck where Jack is going to be able to cycle 2 fireballs in some circumstances. So we played the Night Witch before the Giant, guys. You'll note that because basically it will give the Night Witch ability to spawn even more bats. So always play your Night Witch ahead of the Giant rather than putting the Giant first behind that King Tower, even though he does cost a little bit more elixir. So we send in the Miner with the Giant as soon as the Giant gets targeted by the cannon and the tower, trying to get a little bit of chip damage. We're not going to get much here. The Night Witch does reach that right tower, and her bats, along with I think the one staff smash on that right tower, is going to get it down to 2608 HP. But mainly against a faster cycle deck, when you're playing this Giant deck, guys, you want to bide your time. 2 double elixir time, that's when you're going to be doing the bulk of your damage, and by that time you should know what your opponent has in terms of spells. So here we go again, the Night Witch in the back, the Giant coming after that, and this is going to be textbook how you're going to want to handle this matchup, guys. Jack does not bite on the fireball right away. We send in the log. We're just kind of slowly supporting this push. We send in that fireball against the cannon. We also send in that Miner right on that Musketeer. However, Jack was able to cycle to another Musketeer. So what we're going to do here is start another Night Witch in the back, and this is going to be the push, knowing that we have the elixir lead, that is going to win it here for Jack and just, or excuse me, for Arc Thompson. Now just remember and watch, guys, and pay attention to how relentless we're going to be. After that overcommitment to the fireball by Jack, and it wasn't a bad fireball, it was a value fireball, but we were able to get that value by basically baiting with the regular minions. Now we're allowed to play the minion horde. Jack has the fireball back in cycle, but Arc Thompson does a very smart thing here. He plays a Giant at the bridge. He knows there's no fireball anymore in cycle, and we have the elixir advantage, so he's just going to keep pressuring here, and that's exactly what he does. He has the Miner 1 card away, so he goes ahead and he zaps there, and then he's able to send in that Miner, and now the Miner's going to tank a little bit. We're taking that tower way down to 200, 100 damage, and just being relentless there with the Giant at the bridge. The turning point in this match, in my mind, guys, was when he used the minions against that Hog Rider. What the minions did was a little bit extra DPS against that Hog, going to mitigate some of the extra damage onto that tower, but also he knew he would definitely bait that fireball out of Jack, and he'd have the elixir advantage after that. So after that moment, he basically just kept spamming that bridge. It's definitely not a spam deck, but you have to be aware when you have your opponent kind of on their heels, and that's exactly what happened in that match. Now, guys, before we watch the Pompeo video, I just want to give kind of a disclaimer that now that the trophy record of Guanac has been broken, it's going to continue to get broken pretty much every season, I anticipate. I bet someone's going to get to 7K cups this season because of the new trophy reset point. So this video isn't, obviously it's to highlight Arc Thompson's achievement here, but I'm sure by the time I upload this, there's already another player who's beaten him, right? It's more about kind of just giving props to Guanac for holding the record for so long, and then talking about the fact that it's never going to be the same again because of this new trophy reset point and the new trophy inflation that will be infused into the game. But me personally, I'm not complaining about it. I actually really like it, even though the old records just won't stand up anymore in this new steroid era, which I call it, of trophies. It's nice to actually be able to beat your own trophy record, right? Or actually make progress rather than feeling that you're on that treadmill and not going anywhere on ladder. So I'm really happy about it, even though, a little bittersweet saying goodbye to some of these long-held records such as Guanac. So here we go, guys, on the Pompeo replay. Pompeo's still playing this Balloon Miner cycle deck. Now, Pompeo, guys, we got to give total respect to the other ladder god. Arguably, if I was going to make a list of top ladder players of all time, I would probably have Pompeo top 3, Guanac top 3. Who else would be there, guys? Jack would be up there, Botcham would be up there, Samuel would probably be up there. I'm probably forgetting a couple other players, but just like guys who have been around a ladder for a long period of time, always dominating, always pushing the limit here. And you can see Arc Thompson, this is the mistake here. I'm going to pause real quickly, guys. This was the mistake that lost the match for Pompeo here. he didn't think that Arc Thompson had cycled all the way back to that Inferno Dragon, and unfortunately for Pompeo, he had, and basically it was an overcommitment because he's not going to get any value out of this Inferno Dragon. And now look at this, guys. You can see the Inferno Dragon and the Ice Wizard, excuse me, are both alive here. And the huge elixir advantage for Arc Thompson. He's going to be able to execute a freeze if he wants to here, I think. Is he going to use it? Let's see. I don't think he even needs it. He doesn't even need to use the freeze there, and he's going to take that tower down to 600 and 590, make it 490, 100 HP gone for every kind of ice blast of the max Ice Wizard there. And Pompeo says GG because he knows maybe, again, a little bit of an overcommitment with the balloon and then the miner obviously being an 8 elixir investment, and it really didn't result in anything. And that's what you have to be very careful against a graveyard player. And as a graveyard player, that's what you have to be looking out for in order to capitalize on. So great job there by Arc Thompson, beating a really good player. Pompeo's not done yet. There's still a minute left in this match, and he's going to go ahead and go for the opposite tower here. But freeze comes down. Oh, very unfortunate there for Pompeo. The freeze is going to come down, just allowing that Inferno Dragon, and then to add insult to injury, Pompeo misses that fireball. It's going to be rip. GG. Let's go ahead and just fast forward here till the end of this match, because unfortunately, every player, even the latter goats such as Pompeo, who I need to have back on the channel, by the way, they have off games, right? And that's certainly probably what happened here, but it just goes to show you the power of this graveyard freeze deck. Defensively with the freeze, offensively with the freeze, and just defending first. If I can kind of leave you guys with one thing to think about if you want to give any graveyard deck a try, especially graveyard freeze, is making sure that you just play smart and defensively oriented, wait for your opponent to make a mistake, and then you capitalize on the counter push. It's all about the counter push with the splash yard, guys. All right, let's go ahead and move into another replay here, guys. I want to show you this replay again. Sir Carlos playing the other deck again. We'll alternate here on the decks, and this is going to be a good match here. Sir Carlos playing kind of a minor poison cycle deck with Ice Wiz. All of a sudden, Ice Wiz seeing a lot of love out there, guys. How do you feel about that? I'm a big fan, as you can see. I don't think he's on my overlay anymore, but the Ice Wiz is part of my branding. Definitely my favorite card, probably tied with the Royal Ghost in terms of aesthetically what I like, just the visuals of the card. But anyway, Ice Wizard is in the deck. That was kind of a little bit of a side tangent. But here we go, guys. Again, it's going to be nice and easy. Again, I would recommend this deck to you guys, especially you Night Witch lovers out there. I know there's a few of you out there. This is a great deck, guys. It really is, and it's easy to play and understand, and it actually is one of those decks that, in my opinion, a lot of people will call it no skill because it has skill horde, it has the 3 spells. It irritates a lot of people, but, no shame in my game. I'm totally happy playing a deck like this because it's easy to grasp. In my opinion, it's definitely one of the lower skill cap decks in the game, which to me, hey, sign me up, right? It's nice and easy to play. I like that. And it helps you get better at the fundamentals of the game. At least that's my opinion. So here we go, a Giant at the bridge here, trying to get full value out of these minions, going to kind of redirect that Ice Wizard, take out the Ice Wiz, and then actually live to take out that Valkyrie. So a ton of value here out of these minions. And then the Miner goes in to tank for the minions. Those same minions are now doing tons of damage to that left tower. Those same minions that we cycled about, 30 seconds ago now? Behind our own tower, and that's exactly how you want to combo the Miner and the Giant together, especially if they have a defensive unit, a Tesla or a cannon. You send in that Miner pretty much every single time, as long as you have some support troops that you still want to tank for. In this case, it was the minions, the incredibly valuable minions. So here we go, with about a minute left in this match, we already have a pretty big advantage. However, Sir Carlos is not done yet, guys. He's going to go ahead and try to make a comeback here. So here it goes, a minions again in the back, and you can see just trying to bait out that spell, and this time Sir Carlos bites. So we send in the Miner, trying to get some chip damage. Unfortunately, he activates that King Tower, so then we send in the Giant. So a rocket comes down from the opponent along with a full health Miner on the tower, but luckily we have the minion horde. We baited out that poison using the minions. Sneaky, but it's exactly how you guys want to play this deck. Unfortunately, though, another Rocket Miner will probably take our tower down on the left, so this is probably going to be a 2-to-1 victory here, or a 3-to-1 victory for either player. So let's see how it pans out here. Again, we're cycling those minions in the back. Here comes the Miner and the Rocket. We're trying to defend there, but a Log's going to go ahead and take down that left tower. Well played there by Sir Carlos at the end to tie things up, but there is a pretty significant elixir advantage here for Ark Thompson at this point in the match. Here comes the Fireball raining down and the zap on that Ice Wizard. Meanwhile, excuse me, Carlos uses his poison again here. That's going to open us up to play the Giant in the pocket. Valkyrie played very, very well on top of our Night Witch, but the Giant's still alive, just barely, and Miner's doing a lot of damage to the tower. Here comes again a Fireball raining down on that Ice Wizard. Now, why were we so aggressive there, guys, with the Giant and the Miner and everything else that we added to that equation, the Fireball after the fact? Basically, we just had good elixir control and awareness. We knew that we had the lead going into that kind of exchange, so we were able to be a little bit more aggressive with that Fireball at the end. And here it comes again, just Miners doing more chip damage to that right tower, even though Carlos is doing a very good job pulling that Giant to the opposite lane, pulling him into the King Tower rather than aggroing onto that Princess Tower, which is very low on health. It doesn't really matter here, guys. I mean, we have full health on our tower, and he's playing this very well. He's also playing this very aggressively. Again, a Giant in the pocket here. We have our minion horde ready. Here comes the Miner to tank for all those barely surviving minions. Sir Carlos is just laughing it off here, guys. That is going to be GG. I don't know. That Goblin who's like, is probably one of my faves now, guys. It's weird. I have a kind of a weird relationship with the emotes. I like some someday, and then I stop using them, like the Stabby. I love the Stabby. Then I loved the Princess kind of crossbow, and now I don't use it anymore. I don't know. Are you guys fickle too with the emotes, or I don't know. All right, here we go, guys. Let's go with who do we want to show now? Who do we want to show? All right, we don't want to show I want to show an interesting matchup here. Let's watch Psalm 3, because he's going to be playing the lethal bridge spam deck, guys. Let me know if you'd like to see kind of another really, really high trophy video all about the Magic Archer and just how some of these pros are able to capture a ton of value from the Magic Archer, especially in a deck like this played by Psalm 3. This deck is probably one of the most popular, along with that Graveyard Freeze deck, at the top of ladder in the entire game. It's hard to say that this deck is better than Graveyard Freeze just because of how incredibly strong a max freeze is. Talk about an OP card, but it just doesn't translate to tournament level standard. But this deck is right up there, for sure. A few accounts, I would say 3 of the top 10 players are playing this deck right now. So yeah, it's really strong. I've shared it on the channel before, but I'm thinking about doing a follow-up video. So please let me know how you guys would feel about that. This match is actually going to be really, really over really quickly here. So we're going to defend. Magic Archer actually getting a lot of kind of chip damage onto the left tower, incidental chip damage, but Magic Archer is so strong in these situations. But check it out, guys. I think this is going to be like GG right here. Let's just check it out. Here comes the Inferno D. Freeze goes down. Royal Ghost is frozen. Royal Ghost is dead. Tower is down. And then look at all these skeletons surviving. Sam doesn't have a great answer. He doesn't want to use his fireball here, so he just takes a ton of damage from that Inferno Dragon and the skeletons. It's not over yet, but it's certainly not the start that Psalm 3 was hoping for with this deck, guys. And again, this shows you the power of the counter push again. Similar to that Pompeo replay, right? He was able to go in there with his surviving troops. I think it was the same surviving troops too. A bowler, but led by the Inferno Dragon. And then the freeze comes down, tower down. And it's impossible pretty much, unless Ark Thompson makes a huge mistake. It's really impossible for Sam to go ahead and make this comeback here. So let's go ahead and just fast forward, guys, because this one, it ends up just being a slow burn to the 3-crown death of poor Psalm 3 here, who's a really, really good player. He yawns, and then with about 10 seconds left, the tower goes down. That's going to be a 3-crown, guys. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. I enjoyed bringing these two decks with you guys, and a huge shout out again to Guanek, the latter GOAT. He's still the GOAT in my eyes. I don't know about you guys, but really loved watching his freeze gameplay back in the old school videos from about 1 to 2 years ago. Guys, huge shout out again also to Ark Thompson. Check out his player profile in the description below. Thanks to StatsRoyale.com. Thanks to Bren Chong, my YouTube sponsor. Check out his information as well. Guys, thanks, and as always, take care, guys.